Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by BKCW. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined by Jerry Hamilton and Bobby Burton. Tell us where you're checking in from this morning, what you're drinking, get your questions in. Guys, it's January 2nd. The portal opened about, 9.5 hours ago?
Yeah.
It is portal season. I don't know how else to say it. So we got our portal house. Tulsa.
Blake, great job on the graphic, by the way. That's a great graphic.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Tulsa put out their portal house, so we had to make a burnt orange one as well. But portal season is upon us, fellas.
Yeah, it is. Longhorns got some news for y'all to just get started. First of all, Nato Umozulu, as well as Levon Johnson, went into the portal late yesterday, joining Parker Livingston, who announced his intent to enter the portal. So those are the outgoing guys. Real quick, of note, late in the process here for everybody. As far as what Texas is trying to accomplish in the portal this week, I'm told that Texas is expecting between 10 and 13 visitors this weekend. It is all hands on deck. They are going to go hard out of the gate here. 10 to 13 visitors expected this weekend. One of them is Ian Jaffrard, a defensive tackle out of Arkansas. Jerry and I have mentioned him before. 6'5", 380 pounds. Texas is wanting an over-the-ball defender at this point, and this is one of the key points. Now, he is not the biggest name, even though he is the biggest player that Texas is after. Wide receiver Cam Coleman out of Auburn, perhaps the nation's #1 overall prospect in the portal, 2-year starter at Auburn, got 50-plus balls for 700 yards and 5 TDs at Auburn, an offense that was just struggling all year long, but he was a bright spot. He literally could be – I think he's down to Texas A&M, and Alabama, point blank. I think he'll visit – what I'm being told, I think he'll visit all 3 schools and then make a decision. This is a recruitment that is high stakes, highly competitive. Texas making some tough decisions itself over the last 24 hours to make this a possibility. I mentioned Livingston's departure, probably part of that calculus as well. So Cam Coleman, a big one for the Longhorns right now that we are monitoring. Also, Isaac Brown, the running back out of Louisville, is expected to be on campus soon for the Longhorns as well. A young man, was a freshman All-American, rushing for more than 1,000 yards in 2024. Followed that up with 800 yards in 2025 on only 100 carries. He had an 8+ yard per average carry. The young man absolutely is a speed burner. He had 5 runs of more than 50 yards in 5 runs of 50 yards or more in 2025 alone. He is a speed demon that can work within the confines of Steve Sarkisian's offense. There are a dozen more players that we could talk about as we get going here, but I'm going to give it away to Jerry because he's got some things he wants to say.
Well, also on to Isaac Brown, I want to mention this because some people are going to be like, well, he's 5'9.5", 188, 190. I've never covered running backs in Florida that weren't physical football players. He's a physical football player. He's from Homestead, Florida. If you haven't been to Homestead, Florida, you're growing up physical in Homestead, Florida. Okay, it's physical youth football down there. He is a speed guy, but he has also got physicality and a little bit of in his neck. So riding a really, really solid prospect. The linebackers are going to be interesting. I think Texas is looking for a couple of thumpers because they have the speed guy in Anthony Smith. I've been told that Will Muschamp liked what he saw at Bo Barnes in the game and in his when he was evaluating the team. But I think the couple of thumpers, but that doesn't mean you're between the tackle guy. In the SEC, a thumper also has long arms, a big frame, and has range if they're going to play for Will Muschamp. But I look for these linebackers to have some size, the 2 guys they eventually take in. We've mentioned on if you're not on TexasFootball.com, you may as well jump in because we have a Portal After Dark thread that I started at 11:59 last night. We're having so much fun on that. You need to be over there talking trash and having fun with us. That's on TexasFootball.com, Portal After Dark thread. We've had multiple portal threads going on. An intriguing guy for me, Bobby, is Jaden Woods too. The edge pass rusher out of Florida, who's originally from Kansas City area. He's an elite pass rusher for a young player. Elite. I was told he was viewed in the Florida program as a first or second round pick level kid. So that's a name we've mentioned and we've heard too. And we've said this before. If there is a pass rusher that you could put opposite Colin Simmons and maximize that, Texas will look at that as well. And that doesn't mean they don't love Lance Jackson, but I'm talking two high-level pass rushers.
Yeah, I think that he may be he may rotate in on that side. He may be the other pass rusher with Zena and Lance Jackson splitting time at the other spot. That would be one. But Jaden Woods, the defensive end out of Florida, absolutely involved. You mentioned Robert Woodyard, the linebacker out of Auburn.
Thumper.
Thumper. There are other linebackers that Texas is monitoring as well. None that we're ready to name quite yet. I will say a couple of things to mention here. Jaden Ball, the running back from Florida, as of this morning, has not entered the portal. We will continue to monitor that and see what he decides to do here in the next 24, 48 hours. If he's going to go in at all. There are other guys that Texas is waiting on as well, and other positions. It's going to be a lot of news worth noting today. Also, we need to make sure that we mention the guys that have decided to come back to Texas.
Yes, it's a bit one's a big one.
Parker Livingston got a lot of the publicity yesterday for announcing his decision to transfer, and I think he's going to end up at Indiana with Josh Hoover, the TCU quarterback. The families are longtime friends. What I was going to say to this is Emmett Mosley has signed a deal to return to Texas. Brian Wingo is working on his currently. I think those two guys are almost one of them's 100% returning to Texas. The other one's in the 90+% range returning to Texas at this point. They will join a guy like Cam Coleman to give Texas a very, I don't know what to say is lethal or powerful and strong as size, speed, athleticism. They'll have it at receiver if they were able to add Cam Coleman to that group. That would be interesting. Also deciding to return Alex January, the defensive tackle out of Duncanville. He had, of course, if he would have put his name in the portal, he started at Texas this year. Multiple teams would have been after him. Same with Hero Canoe. We had been reporting that Canoe was expected to return. Both he and January are signed to return to the University of Texas for next year. This is a look at the decisions that we had for the NFL. The big one on that list right now probably is Trevor Gooseby. Gooseby has an NFL/Texas decision to make. I think Jerry has some insight on that one. I'll let him go. But before I say that, Jack Indry is expected to make a decision any day now between Texas and the NFL draft. What do you have the latest on Gooseby, Jerry?
Yeah, look, I think I still feel pretty positive about it, but you go through the process, right? I think he'll have a decision by early next week, announce a decision by early next week. It could come at any time. But I think that's where it's kind of playing out to. But I'm still positive as of yesterday. I also want to add on, you mentioned on Jaden Ball. I spoke with somebody that I've known for years on the Florida side, and as of late last night, Florida still hasn't been told anything by Jaden Ball. So that's an ongoing battle. What Florida's trying to do is they're trying to to get some of those other key pieces back and then convince Ball that he's the guy with those pieces like Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, the tight end Jackson, all coming back. They're trying to put that and then make him the focal point of that offense around that. They're expected to get Aaron Philon, the quarterback out of the portal, who people think is really good out of Georgia Tech. But they're trying to build that and set him up to be their final piece. We'll see if Jaden Ball wants to stay or not.
Oh, man.
Oh, by the way, I need to say this because I do need to say this. To say Texas is excited about Hero Canoe returning would be an understatement. Like, that's a guy that came in and played way above what anybody thought he would. And now they see where that could go in year 2. And to say they're excited, it would be an understatement that he's returning.
I think the chat's excited. I've been trying to keep up with putting everybody's stuff up. I'm going to get carpal tunnel by the time this show's over.
Well, you're about that age where your physicality, you start breaking down.
Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate it. Way to brighten my morning. Really,
No, you're
really
good.
appreciate
How old
it.
are you, Blake?
40.
Yeah, I
About to
know.
be 41.
Yeah, I know. No. Don't jump anymore. Don't run anymore. Keep your Achilles healthy.
Oh, man. All right. I tell you what, guys, we got super chats. We got more portal talk. We got a lot of stuff. But first, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone this morning about South Point Dodge.
Yeah, absolutely. Longhorn fans, let's get over to South Point Dodge, our new Friday morning sponsor for coffee and football. If you've been thinking about upgrading your ride, now's the time. We're talking big price reductions on Ram 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s, plus Jeep Wranglers and Grand Cherokees. And here's the kicker. On Texas football listeners get 90 days before your first payment, and South Point Dodge will ship your new ride anywhere you are. Over 600 vehicles in stock, ready to roll for tailgates or holiday road trips. Check out southpointdodge.com or swing by I-35 in South Austin. Get to the point at South Point Dodge.
Good stuff. Okay. Hey, let's see here. We got a few super chats I wanted to get to real quick. Mike Gosnell says, Merry Portal, everyone. May your loins be girded and your corn dogs have copious amounts of mayonnaise.
Yes. Oh, there's going to be some corn dogs with mayo in the next 2 weeks. That I can guarantee. Hey, Blake, we've had a ton of people join. Bring up our portal graphic again real quick.
Yeah. Portal House.
Portal House, baby. Here's our graphic, our On Texas Football Portal House graphics. Share it. Tell everybody to come talk Portal with us on Texas Football YouTube channel and on TexasFootball.com. We have the Portal After Dark thread. That's got many thousands of views and 500, 600 responses in no time. Come join the fun over there. Talk trash to me and CJ. It's all acceptable.
I want to say this for those because we're having people join, and so we need to mention this every so often. We're reporting that Texas is expected to have 10 to 13 official visitors this weekend from the portal. So this is not something that they're daintily putting their toe into. They're going whole hog. And one of the things I've been mentioning, one of those is expected to be Isaac Brown, running back out of Louisville. I mentioned Ian Jaffrard, the defensive lineman out of Arkansas, both starters for their teams. Robert Woodyard, starting linebacker at Auburn this past year. Potentially Jaden Woods, defensive end out of Florida. Literally 10 to 13 guys. And we hadn't even mentioned the Memphis kicker. No, not visits line, not 18 visits lined up. They are expecting 10 to 13 right now. They could sign as many as 15 to 18 guys in the portal.
There you go.
But they do not have 18 visits lined up. And that's as of this morning, that data. My point to everybody on this right now is it is all everybody's on deck at Texas right now. I mean, they're still working on existing retention contracts. We mentioned Ryan Wingo, several others. They're also getting ready to host a number of official visitors this morning.
And I wanted to mention, since y'all are both talking about the portal thread over at On Texas Football. Remember, we can't be on here all the time, but updates are 24/7 at OnTexasFootball.com. And Bobby has a Portal Madness limited time offer. You get the month of January, or you get a full month for just $1. Again, OnTexasFootball.com. That's for new subscribers only. So be sure to check that out.
Yeah, we're trying to introduce people and make sure they know that's where Jerry's talking about that Portal After Dark thread. That's where he and CJ and myself are going to be posting nuggets every so often that we get them right now. But there is a lot of guys, a lot of moving parts right now.
Okay, let's see. A lot of people asking about Coleman. Jay Lee says we didn't have a speedy yards after catch guy this year. That's not who Coleman is. He's a throw the ball up wide receiver. Wouldn't it be better buying a few speedy yak guys?
I don't think I didn't say Cam Coleman would be the only receiver Texas added.
Yeah. See what happens.
I just want to put that out there. They are absolutely aware of the need. They look on offense. Texas right now is looking at, touchdown scorers. That's what they want. Okay. They need some people to help Arch take this over the top. Isaac Brown is certainly one of those. Cam Coleman would certainly be one of those. They've got other guys in mind as well. So just because you hear one big name doesn't mean there aren't others that, by the way, could also be big names that aren't also possibilities. I want to say this, nothing is, people have tried to say, well, if they do this, they can't do this. Well, when you let Parker Livingston, and people are saying, well, somebody came out and said it wasn't about NIL for Parker Livingston yesterday. Yes, it was.
Of course it was.
The two sides were very far apart on NIL. And when that happens, there's a reason Texas is going to allot money differently or separately somewhere else. That's all there is. That's not a commentary on Parker Livingston. That's not a commentary on Texas. That's a commentary on college football in 2026. Right? So I'm not trying to say anything negative about anybody. It's just the way it is. And I want my point is Texas is allotting funds in this roster period to go win a national championship. When I say all in, I've been saying it for 2 months now. It means all in. It means letting go of Pete Kwiatkowski before your bowl game. It means letting go of Chad Scott before your bowl game. They're all in for 2026. And Sark wants to get the pieces in place, and that includes this portal window.
I want to add this. I know everybody's in portal mode right now. Jermaine Bishop's pretty good. Yep. I mean, so you got a guy coming in that can catch a football and make 7 moves in 12 seconds. So it's like he's in fact, he was compared to a Dory Jackson last week in Orlando. And for what that's worth, to those that remember Dory Jackson, who played receiver at USC as well as some corner, now a corner in the NFL. But he was compared as a playmaker to a Dory Jackson in Orlando last week.
Let's see here. Our next one from Juan Garza. He wants to know, what Georgia players does this go after? How about that game? Congrats to Ole Miss.
It's a hell of a win. That's why. Tristan Chambliss comes from D2 football. Football players are everywhere, man. And the evaluation of guys, so many times we start with the feet and work up. Man, sometimes you got to start with the head and work down. What's in your mind? What's in your heart? Mind, heart. He's a hell of a player. Hell of a player.
I think Bobby's trying to fix his connection.
And yes, Georgia players are probably fast and furious this morning. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say it.
Oh, goodness gracious. I can't play the dial-up sound because technically he didn't lag out. I'm saving it for when that happens. He exited on his own to fix this connection. He'll be right back. I see y'all in the chat telling me to play it. Okay, our next super chat this morning, as Bobby is rejoining us, comes from Machine Gun Nick, and he says, Jerry or Bobby, is it possible to offer incentivized contracts to keep these players, kind of like they do with NFL contracts?
No, they specifically disallow incentive-based contracts in NIL because they believe that would be pay for play. Not that that's not what this already is to some degree, but it's another one of those rules where the rule book probably needs to be thrown out. They do not allow incentive-based contracts.
And then a super chat here this morning from Terrence. He says, hey, Jerry, great picks. You were dead on about Anthony Smith and Caden Phillips. They both had breakout games against Michigan.
Look, Anthony Smith, Bobby, he's, by the way, his mom's on the chat all the time. She still didn't tell us where he got his hands from. She needs to tell us in the chat where he got his hands from. But I can't wait to see what he looks like because he was a guy coming out of high school that was wiry, strong, out of Jasper, built more like a basketball player, that was a really talented football player. But now that he's in that 217, 220 range, what's he going to look like at 230, 235? He'll play the run better as he gets stronger, but he is an elite space player at linebacker, an elite space player at linebacker. And what you saw from him, and then the flash you saw from Bo Barnes, who I think is also can really run and play in space. You don't run 10.95 at 238 pounds in high school if you can't close on a football and run and pursue outside the hashes. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player. That's why I think Texas is looking for two bigger frame guys that are more thumpers, but in the SEC, thumper also means NFL draft pick because you can run. You're not going to have thumpers that are only between the A-gap and B-gap player and the Will Muschamp. That ain't happening. So you're going to have to be able to pursue a little bit. But that's why I think Texas is looking for height, length, and size at one of those linebacker positions that also has that physicality at the POA. And then a true thumper that, he doesn't have to be 6'3", but he's got to have some size, and he's got to have some awareness, and he's got to have the ability to play outside the hash marks as well. That's why when you look at Anthony Smith and you look at what's coming back at linebacker, that's why the two spots they're looking at in the portal add up the way they do.
Our next super chat this morning, Muschamp's corn dog. Thank you, as always. We appreciate it. I think people might be missing that bringing in someone like Cam Coleman may open up the field for Wingo and Mosley.
And the tight ends and the running backs. I read somebody in the chat, well, he's not a make-you-miss guy. For 6'3", 200, he's a make-you-miss guy too, by the way. He's athletic as you know what.
Yeah.
Great body control, catch radius. His catch radius is very similar to Emmett Mosley's. Emmett Mosley has great catch radius, even though he's not even as big as Cam Coleman, and get great competitive ball catching ability. Look, I think that there's a number of there's a lot of value there, to your point about bringing on a player the level of Cam Coleman that can amplify the ability of others. Look, I mean, he's better blocker on the edge than DeAndre Moore and Parker Livingston too, for Ryan Wingo to run a bubble screen, right? I mean, or whatever you want to call those. I think that, what Texas is trying to do is really, really simple at the very core of it. We can talk around this all that we want, okay? Texas is trying to find true weapons, not good players, not guys that are cultural. I mean, cultural fit is important. Don't get me wrong, okay? They're trying to find difference makers that will elevate them from 10-3 to 13-0, or whatever the hell the college football playoff number is going to look like next year. So that's what this is all about for them.
Let's see here. The next one comes from Sugar Poppy. Julo says, I tried mayo on a corn dog. What's wrong with you? We've been asking Jerry that question for years.
Nothing's wrong with me. Hi. They're great. Great little tasty snacks. By the way, Jenny Burton had the shirt made, so I'm not sure it's her best work ever, but it's pretty good for OTF. She's pretty talented.
Good enough is what you're saying. All right, Darius says, any Georgia players we should be watching to hit the portal?
Yes, but let's see if they actually go in the portal. That's look, that's a pretty that's a pretty strong unit and program. And we'll have to see if the ones that Texas would want truly go in the portal. But yes, there are Georgia players that Texas, should they hit the portal, Texas would absolutely go after and have a very, very good shot at landing. I think Alabama is another team who just lost yesterday that may have some players on their roster as well.
And then Kozier wants to know anybody in the 27 class that will reclassify to 26. That could be another factor in roster management.
No, that's always a factor. I mean, nobody right now. Like, so we talked to Easton Royal, CJ and I. That interview's up on Texas Football. Fun kid, by the way. Got a little bit of hitching his giddy up down in Orlando from the season after the first couple of practices. It was kind of cold, damp that first night. I managed to not get sick. But so we talked to Easton Royal, and he's not reclassifying the 26 from 27. There had been some scuttlebutt about that, but he said he is not currently planning to go from 27 to 26. I do think there may be a guy pop up this spring that's working on it, that maybe he's not even out yet publicly, that may try to reclass from 27 to 26 and could be I call it stash and develop guy for a year, but has a ton of upside. I'm not going to rule that out because I definitely still think that's possible.
Hey, Jerry, one thing we need to mention in connection with that is Malachi Lee.
Yeah.
With Kyle Whittingham taking the Michigan job, the offensive lineman out of Hawaii has decided not to enroll at Michigan at midterm and instead wait through this summer.
Yeah.
I think he's going to end up staying at Michigan, but by delaying his enrollment, we'll see exactly what that means and if that could put him back in play eventually.
Yeah. And I, as from me covering this perspective and following it, I wish he hadn't have done that. I wish he'd make a decision to go on with his development, but I get it. Everybody has to do what they need to do. But I think that working hard to have the ability to enroll, how much it helps you. I just wish the kid had stuck on it, because just thinking about the kid, I wish he'd stuck on that plan, but obviously it's a big decision for him. By the way, I did Black Sheep. That's a good call. When I was talking about linebackers earlier, we did not mention Tyler Atkins. Tyler Atkinson will be a factor. He'll play next year. He's got incredible closing speed, and he has game speed. He can be used as a blitzer. He will play next year.
And more super chats rolling in. This next one here comes from Bandit, going back to Jermaine Bishop conversation. Bandit says he's all in on the Bishop narrative.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's very talented. I think he's got a chance to be a elite player if he plays wide receiver and make you miss guy, elite player in the return game. If he ends up playing corner, I think he can be elite there too. So somebody who compared him in Orlando last week to Adoree Jackson might not be far off on that, because that he's not saying that he's going to play corner at Texas. He's not going to. He's the person that said this wasn't saying he's going to play both at Texas. Just that's the level of natural playmaker on a football field he is. And I think that's the key.
And then our next question, or more of a comment from Jeff Carey. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you. He says, top priority is picking up retired or current referees to help us correct our huge penalty problem. Bobby, you and I talked about this the other day. Texas is not quite dead last, but as close as you can get to it, 135 out of 136 teams.
Yes, unbelievably. That next to last of the entire thing, subdivision, they end up 10-3. So what does that tell you about the importance of penalties? I don't know. I certainly think that they have to get better for next year, and it's an area of improvement. Jerry talked about accountability. I think it was yesterday morning, he thinks Will Muschamp will help improve that number on defense. A lot of these penalties, though, are coming on false starts and holds on the offensive line, and then frankly on special teams. I mean, way too many penalties on special teams. Heck, Texas had 2 penalties on Wednesday on the defense after they intercepted a ball. So the lack of what is the right word? It's not even accountability. There's a word out there I'm trying to think of. Texas has a lack of that at times. Now, you can pin that a little bit on a younger team that they had this year, but it has to improve next year if they're going to reach their goals, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. You can't be in the outside 120 in penalties and hold the trophy you want to hold at the end of the year. It's not going to happen. And I think Jaluk and I think Muschamp are going to bring that physicality edge. And I think that goes with it too.
Yeah, people are saying discipline in the chat. Thank you. Sometimes I'm so excited about portal right now. When I talk about something else, I lose all my train of thought.
All right, well, we're going to get to y'all's more of y'all's questions here in just a moment. But first, I need to tell everyone about a couple of our sponsors. Let's start with Prize Picks because we make decisions daily. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. And Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in, win up to 2,000 times your money. And it's the absolute best way to get in on the sports action in more than 40 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and of course, right here in the great state of Texas. And waiting on those projections to come out for the college football playoff semifinals. But don't forget, they have more than just college football. They have college basketball, NFL, NBA, NHL. They even have esports, if that's your thing, or tennis, or whatever it may be. So go find just something over at Prize Picks. Make your own picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code ONTexas to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code ONTexas to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. And something else that's good is AG1. I use it daily. It's a daily health drink that combines your multivitamin, pre and probiotics, superfoods, and antioxidants into one simple green scoop. And with the new year here, a lot of people are looking for small, realistic ways to feel better, have more energy, and stay consistent. AG1 makes that easy. New Year's resolutions always start strong, but once life speeds back up, routines can fall apart. AG1 is built for consistency. Just one scoop first thing in the morning helps fill common nutrient gaps, and it supports gut health even on the busiest days. And AG1 Next Gen has more vitamins and minerals than ever before. It fits seamlessly into your daily routine. Plus, there's multiple flavors now: original, citrus, berry, and tropical. So you'll find one that you like and that suits you. If you're looking for a simple way to kick off a new year, new you reset, AG1 has their best offer ever right now. When you go to drinkag1.com/OnTexas, you're going to get a free welcome kit, a morning person hat, a bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2, an AG1 flavor sampler, and you'll even get to try their new sleep supplement, AGZ, for free. That's drinkag1.com/OnTexas. Remember, they're going to give you that $126 in free gifts for new subscribers. It's an easy win for starting the year off on the right foot. Okay, more questions to get to. And a lot of people are asking about the running backs. And let's start with a couple of portal running backs. Justin wants to know, who do you guys like better, Isaac or Ball? He says that the highlights are pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I don't think it's either or.
Yeah.
I think the problem that people are trying to say, hey, which one do you like better? I like them both. Wouldn't you like them both in Longhorn uniforms at the same time? Obviously, that is not pie in the sky. But Jaden Ball needs to go in the portal first. And yes, I think Texas will. Texas is the favorite to land Isaac Brown. He is expected on campus this weekend. So I am a big believer in both of those guys.
Yeah, look, I think they're both really good players. I think Jaden Ball is a 10-year pro. I mean, he's 6'1", 231. For the people that don't know, he didn't play running back until his senior year. He is excellent catching the ball out of the backfield at 6'1", 231. He had over 500 yards receiving, I think, his sophomore and junior year of high school football in the Atlanta area, then moved to running back. He's hit 21 miles an hour right around it. There are just not many guys like him, to me, who is a 3-down back, who's just as good out of the backfield as he is as a running back, taking a handoff. He is a real fit for any SEC team. I mean, when you think about it, when you think about one of the most impressive things about Ball to me, and I was talking to somebody about this, he averaged 5.6 yards a carry. And some people will take this as a negative. I don't. He didn't have any – his longest run was 26 yards last year. Florida really struggled blocking downfield. And I think Ball is I think Ball can have longer runs than that. There's no doubt. But to average 5.6 yards per carry in the SEC without any 60, 70, 80-yard runs, that means you are very damn consistent on the carry-to-carry basis. That is an impressive stat to me about him. He's really good. He's an SEC fit.
I think that they're two different types. You wouldn't say you wouldn't try to compare Jonathan Brooks to Jaden Blue, would you?
No.
Okay. So,
and by the way, I think Isaac Brown, by the way, in this conversation, much better runner than Jaden Blue as a running back.
I agree with that. But my point is different type skill sets.
Yeah.
Both elite at what they do, to Jerry's point.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Isaac Brown averaged more than 8 yards a carry this season with 100+ carries. Those numbers just don't happen.
Staying on that, Jess wants to know, are Brown and Cooper similar backs? Are they both speed backs?
No, so here's how I would kind of think about Derek Cooper. So what you saw from Christian Clark in the Citrus Bowl, a downhill runner that presses the hole, that has a little skip cut, then works to the second level. I think Derek Cooper is very similar to that with 10.7, 500-meter speed. I think with more strike up the band speed. So I think there's some similarities in how those two guys run the football. They're both – Derek Cooper is a downhill guy that's going to press the hole. He's going to give you the little hesitation, jump cut, skip cut off his linebacker read, and then he's going to accelerate. And he can accelerate at what will be 215, 220 pounds. Again, he's a 10.7 type guy. So I think that is who, just from a recent comparison that your eyes have seen, that's where I would go with Derek Cooper.
Good stuff. Okay, let's jump back over to some super chats this morning, and an easy one for you, Bobby. Robert wants to know, where did you get that SEC Texas jersey? Hook 'em horns.
You know what? I'm wearing this in honor of one of the former Texas seniors that just graduated. His dad gave me this. It is Cole Hudson's. So that is a jersey of Cole's that I'm wearing, and appreciate it very much.
And Juan with another super chat. Thank you, Juan. He says, does Zena leave since his brother is now in the portal?
So people need to understand there's not just two Moslow brothers. There's three. NATO is the oldest. There's also Zeke, who has been a walk-on at Texas in the secondary to go with Zena as well. As of right now, there's a reason one is in the portal and the other two are not. Now, I can't say that this is a done deal one way or the other, but I think it's leaning in one direction for sure. And that's staying.
Michael Williams wants to know, do you think the future of NIL, et cetera, are 2-year contracts with the ability to exit if a coach leaves or is fired?
It already is in some places. So some people are trying to do multi-year deals and not including the coach if the coach leaves. They actually want the handcuffs. If the coach does leave, they still want the handcuffs to apply. But as with any contract, almost all of that can be positioned that way, in my opinion.
And then our next super chat this morning from Rocky P. Thank you, Rocky P. We all know the big names. What no-name / under-the-radar players should we look at? Also, Jerry, any truth to the transfer to Texags rumor? I know you and Billy are besties.
Don't listen to Joe Z. You'll end up jumping in a pool with Richard Wesley, then having to take it back. Look, I like Billy. Actually, Billy's a funny dude. We've had him on the show. He's a funny guy. Under the radar players. Yes. And I think one of them is really good. Really, really good when his name makes it up.
Yeah. There are players that you guys have not heard of from us that are absolutely going to visit today and tomorrow. And there's a reason you haven't heard them from us, because we don't burn our sources. But there are, Rocky, absolutely.
I want to hit on this real quick, just a follow up, because this is actually a good question.
Go ahead.
Somebody asked, because this was also in our good chance to sell again our Portal After Dark thread. If you're not on TexasFootball.com, it's a lot of fun with all the OTF members. Marco Mendoza, any word if Texas is interested in Biles from Pittsburgh, all ACC linebacker? Really good player. I think Texas wants to get more size. I think Biles is a really good player. They have Ty Anthony Smith. They have Tyler Atkinson coming in. I think the two linebackers Texas will take in the portal, I think they're going to be bigger guys physically. I think that Muschamp and Texas feel like that's their need.
And Biles went in the portal with the intention to go to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Is what I'm told.
Yeah, that's his only visit. Very good player.
Okay, our next question comes from Bradford. Thank you, Bradford. Appreciate you. He says, I'm sure it's been talked about and I missed it, but with Muschamp, will we be running a 3-3-5 instead of a 4-2-5? The Arkansas defensive tackle would make a ton of sense.
And I think you're going to be – Will Muschamp's going to be multiple. He's going to be multiple. That's the thing I would say. I think there will be some base four-man front, but just look at what Georgia's run in recent years as well. I think it's going to be a multiple. It's going to be a multiple scheme. He's going to fit it to his players. He's not going to score a peg round hole, guys. It's not the way he goes.
No matter who and what they do, they need an over-the-ball guy.
Yeah.
They got to have that, because that's the one thing. Neither January nor Hero Canoe are really over-the-ball guys. They're more 2 or 3 techniques. They need a guy that's going to control the middle and occupy and let some linebackers roam. And I think they think Ian Jaffrard from Arkansas might just be that guy. Jaffrard will be visiting Texas later today. He started for the Razorbacks this year.
And if you haven't seen him, he has to turn sideways to go in a door.
He's 6'5", 380. 6'5", 380.
Yeah. Listed 380.
All right. Brett wants to know, Brett Mayfield, better prospect coming out of high school, Anthony Hill or Tyler Atkinson?
I've said this before. It's a good question. They're different. I think Atkinson is more of a natural, instinctive linebacker. I think Anthony Hill was a see ball, hit ball carrier, downhill player at heart, and I think that's where his strength is. I think that's why, one of the things that irked me this year was he didn't rush the passer enough. He had 8.5 sacks as a sophomore. He should have been a 10-sack guy. And I know they wanted to help him build his linebacker skills. But I think Tyler Atkinson is a pure instinctive linebacker. I think he can play anywhere. I think he's a Swiss Army knife linebacker. I think he can play anywhere. You don't have over 500 tackles in high school, over 500 playing against the best competition in the Atlanta area and in Georgia, unless you're a super instinctive football player. Yeah, I mean, and when I've seen him in person and I've talked to the Grayson staff, remember the first time I started talking to the Grayson staff about Atkinson was when I went to see Nick Brooks, and Atkinson was a junior and Nick Brooks was a senior. And people just raved, and you could see it about how football savvy and smart Tyler Atkinson is. But just the funny thing that day, the first person I met was Tyler Atkinson's dad. And at that point in time, when he mentioned, and we'll say it now, when he mentioned Tashard Choice and the relationship that his kid had with Choice, I kind of raised my eyebrow, said, hold on now. That was an interesting one to throw out on the first conversation. Texas was secretly working on him for a long time before it was public.
Buddy Pal, Chief Big Guy with the super chat. improving the offensive line will help with the penalty issue. You false start and hold when you get beat.
Very true. Very true. You can improve athleticism on the offensive line. You can move people around and find the right mix. Look, I think Texas is going to be looking across the board on the offensive line. I would not, even if Trevor Gooseby re-signs, which things are looking good at this point. Look, I could see Texas trying to take a tackle and move Brandon Baker inside. So there's all kinds of permutations. They are looking for elite players right now on the offensive line. And I will just say this, that in and of itself is something that people need to realize. Texas, just like running back, wide receiver, defense, they are not looking for just guys to fill the roster in 2026. It's not happening.
All right, Bobby. T-Top Network wants to know good morning. Or first he says good morning. But how big would Jack Endry's return for Texas be? And do the big names sign quick, or will we see a bidding war drag out?
Let's take Jack Endry's first. I think it would be big. Obviously, Endry's, though, has a decision between the NFL and returning to Texas. If Endry's goes pro, I could see Texas trying to get a tight end that is more of a blocking tight end as a replacement for him. An inline guy specifically, because either Jordan Washington, Amari Winston, or Nick Townsend obviously could be that receiving tight end. I would look for them, and I know Spencer Shannon is potentially returning as well. I could see them looking for more of an inline guy to fill out the roster as far as that's concerned. As far as do the big name sign like Isaac Brown, Cam Coleman, I think that there are a couple that will and a couple that won't. That's the best way I would put it to you. So I do expect maybe one or two to come off the board that are big names early, and then a couple to wait. At this point, I think Cam Coleman's going to be a guy that takes 3 visits. That's my best update that I can give you. I think he's going to visit Texas, Texas A&M, and Alabama. At least that was the plan as of late last night, is my understanding.
Okay, we have a big old super chat here from Fair Weather Fans. Jerry's got the lampshade on. I'll make that full screen for y'all. 2 questions. Jerry, number 1, Jerry, will the staff mess this portal up? Number 2, anyone, is the SEC bad? What happened in Alabama? I did my undergrad at Cal when Mendoza was a freshman. He is good, but not beat you by 35 good.
I think Mendoza's very good. I will say that. Thanks for the super chat. Will the staff mess this portal up? I think they're going to the portal up in a good way right now. So I don't know if that was where you're going. Yeah, look, I think Marcus Mendoza is really good. And I think, guys,
Fernando, not Marcus is one of our viewers.
Fernando. Yeah. Think about this. Kurt Cignetti's the first guy to win off a bye in the college football playoff. Yeah. Is that guy not proving he is the actual best coach in the game right now? You go to Indiana and you make the college football playoffs your first 2 years, you win the Big Ten, and you're the first coach. You're the only guy to take on the bye and win, and you do it convincingly when everybody else is stubbing toes and falling all over each other that have byes. Unbelievable coaching job. Unbelievable coaching job. That's what that is.
I would say this. I would add this. He's got 2 really good coordinators, man. He has got 2 really, really good coordinators. I can't believe like James Madison didn't try to take one of them to be a head coach instead of taking Billy Napier.
Yeah.
I think you watched that game yesterday. They have upperclassmen at nearly every position. They are well coached. They've got good schemes. They take shots when they're supposed to take shots. And I believe they've done, as much as anything, they've done a good job of evaluating talent and then coaching that talent. I'm impressed with what they've done.
Fairweather fans, it's a good one. The Miami DC, who's done an amazing job there, they have great defensive linemen, but he's putting them in position to crush, was Signetti's DC at James Madison. Signetti has the eye. And that's, look, it's amazing when you look at when a head coach is hired, their success level almost many times can be directly tied to who they hire on their staff. If you have the eye for who to hire on your staff, you're starting in a great spot. Just look at the history of these staffs. Look at Bob Soup's first staff at Oklahoma. How many of those guys went on to be successful head coaches?
I would say this too. I mean, I first met Kurt Signetti and talked to him more than 30 years ago. When I first got into the business, I guess it was 1993, 94, and he was a recruiting coordinator at Pitt at the time. And I talked to him several times, and he's always, this is not the way he talks in public is the way he talks on the phone. I'll just let y'all know that is not an act. That's like, well, maybe he talks different whenever the cameras aren't on. No, that's how he talks. Very stilted, but also very deliberate and thoughtful. And so I do think that his, to Jerry's point, his evaluation of players, evaluation of coaches, been very good.
Man, something else that's very good, Jerry Hamilton, is Hayes City Store. Tell us about it.
You know where you go to celebrate highs or booms? It's Hayes City Store. There are very few restaurants that what you go to, you immediately know they're just special. Hayes City Store is one of those places. It's scratch-made Texas comfort food. They've got their famous truck stop enchiladas, award-winning chicken fried steak, and homemade desserts. All of it's absolutely delicious. All of it is from scratch. There's also live music six nights a week with 50 beer taps, ice cold long necks, and tasty margaritas. On that live music train, I have convinced Jeff Howe, Rod Babers, and CJ Vogel that a karaoke contest there for the Texas football community could and should be on the table. And I think they're all in. So maybe we'll do that at Hayes City Store soon. There are 13 TVs alone in their ice house, perfect for game days. And they even have brunch served from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every Sunday. Hayes City Store is dog friendly except for one. And they have a tree net for kids for all. Join the folks at Hayes City Store and bring your whole crew. For more information, check out HayesCityStoreTX.com. Hayes City Store, it's uniquely Texas.
And Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone about My Perfect Franchise.
Yeah, I can do that. Thanks for asking me, Blake. My Perfect Franchise, Andy Ludicky and his crew help people be placed in franchise businesses. So if you're looking to diversify, someone that needs their hands in multiple businesses, Andy can help you diversify by finding you a business that will fit your time allotment and financial goal. Call him or email him to learn more. He's got a really cool process. Andy at myperfectfranchise.net. Again, this is the time of year where you may be looking for something new. Make sure you check him out. Andy at myperfectfranchise.net.
Well, let's jump right back into Super Chats because we got more of them this morning.
We got to bring up the portal graphic, too. We've had so many people join while we answer these questions. This is our official On Texas Football Portal House graphic. Head on over to ontexasfootball.com for our Portal After Dark thread. You can make fun of me. I love it. I take it. It's fun. And so just while we answer those, let people take a look at where we're doing this from. The Portal House.
Yeah, that's right. Take it all in here. All right. Brian wants to know, Brown entered with do not contact. Is a deal already in place? And if Coleman gets away, is there a second option that Texas has an eye on?
So the one thing, because somebody asked about Jaden Woods with the do not contact as well, that doesn't mean you absolutely know where you're going. I want to put that out there. I think sometimes people just think, oh, that guy's done. He already knows. In some cases, yes. But you may already know 2 or 3 schools, that the only ones you have interest in or that you're going to talk to based on your feedback from your agent. So that is what I would say about that. There's some instances that, yes, somebody knows exactly where they're going and it's a done deal. Then there's other instances, do not contact, which means you're not just going to take all the calls. You may have 2 or 3 schools, maybe 4 that you're really considering, but you're just not going to be overwhelmed and want to talk to everybody.
As far as the second part of that question goes, Bobby, Jerry, if Coleman gets away, is there a second option Texas has an eye on?
Yes.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. I'm not going to put that name out there, but yes. And I also think that they're looking for a second wide receiver regardless, but maybe that second wide receiver is not as high as Cam Coleman, but there's another piece to this that could play into it eventually.
My new favorite poster in the chat. All right, Todd Lacey here. Thank you for the super chat. Says Texas must address the interior offensive line. Yet we are focusing talk on skill positions. Thoughts on who Texas is looking at? Black from Iowa State looks good. What are your thoughts?
So Texas has certainly identified multiple offensive linemen that they are bringing in. Some of those names will surface as soon as today. I will say this, they're also looking for elite players. So don't be surprised if you see some of that that you didn't expect. And I said it again, I think some people along the offensive line could move positions. So keep that in mind as well. They are absolutely involved with multiple offensive linemen. I'm not going to give the names yet because I think I don't want to give that away at this point. There's a reason for that, guys.
And then our next super chat this morning from Tubin, Texas, is James Simon the odd man out?
Could be a lot of odd men out. Frankly, I mean, I think that some people think that maybe Christian Clark's performance on Wednesday put him in a position to be the number 2 at Texas. I don't think that he has the size, if Texas gets Isaac Brown, to be a number 2 at Texas. I think he would have to be a different number there. And so I don't know if that's going to work. James Simon did not play at all in the entire game. I'm not sure why. And so what does that portend for his future? Texas bringing in, obviously, Derek Cooper and Jet Walker from the high school ranks. I think that the running back situation right now will only get clarity probably in the next week to 10 days from a numbers perspective.
And I want to add this. I want to add this about also what off that one or any kid that ends up going in the portal. Just because somebody from Texas goes in the portal doesn't mean they're not going to go be a really good player somewhere else and be on an NFL roster.
Parker Livingston's going to be a good player wherever he goes.
Look, James Simon, I don't know what's going to happen with James Simon. James Simon's damn good. And if it's at Texas, he'll be good. If it's somewhere else, he's going to be good. He is a really instinctive, really good running back. There's going to be some guys that, that leave the program that are going to go on and end up being really good players and be in NFL camps. And that's part of it nowadays.
Joe here, thank you for your super chat. Joe says, happy portal day. But on a different topic, I noticed in rewatching the game that Simmons sometimes has an issue with setting or not setting an edge. How does Coach Boom help with this?
I think he's going to have to just keep getting stronger. He does a pretty good job of setting the edge, by the way, for a guy that's a major pass rush threat. I wouldn't call it a weakness. I would call it something he's not as good at as rushing the passer. So I think that strength at the point of attack is going to be it will always be something that's important to Will Muschamp, whether it be at defensive end, defensive tackle, or linebacker even, and outside at corner. I will say this. You can't, and we got asked about Cade Phillips earlier. You can't be Will Muschamp and not like what you saw from your 2 corners in this game, and Warren Roberson and Cade Phillips. Cade Phillips, I thought, played soft against the run in the quick screen game in the first half, and then he saw it happening and reacted and played really strong against it in the second half. That's just getting your feet underneath you, young player, et cetera. Warren Roberson was physical from the start after Kobe Black went out with injury. So I think Will Muschamp had to like what he saw from the two corners that played on Saturday or on Wednesday.
Perry here with the super chat. Thank you, Perry. Could Brown be our next Ramonce Taylor?
Different. different.
Yeah.
Different. Brown's a natural running back, is what I would say. And Brown is more of a natural running back than Jaden Blue ever thought about being. Like, he is a legitimate natural running back. That maybe he's not the biggest guy, but he is. Again, I'm going to continue to say this: never covered running backs in Florida that weren't physical, no matter their size. And he falls in line. So whether he's 5'8", 185, 190, I don't care. He's a physical player. He's a natural running back. He's got running back vision and instincts.
Tyler, thank you, Tyler, says, did Nansen coach his way onto the Muschamp staff with the physicality he got the defense to play with that we didn't see all year? And will it affect who Texas gets in the portal at the linebacker position?
That's a good question. I mean, look, there's always a chance that Johnny Nansen could get a play calling DC job somewhere. I mean, he's been in the game a long time. He's called defense before. That could be, if he has an opportunity to do that, that may be something he looks at. I think until we know if he has one of those opportunities, I don't know if we can answer that question right now fully. But I think if he gets an opportunity to be a play caller somewhere, he's going to take a long look at it. I would say that.
Let's see here. Locking Horns. Happy New Year on Texas football. Based on bowl performance, do you guys think the SEC is overrated?
Could have been a little bit this year based on bowl performance. I would say this, though. The SEC had more opt-outs than its opponents. Clearly, I think. But no, look, Vanderbilt was overrated. They were Pavia, and when Stowers went out, I mean, like, that was Vanderbilt without Eli Stowers, who, while Diego Pavia is the straw that stirs the drink, their actual best player was the tight end. The tight end's going to be the one that goes in the first round. And he was out for that game, but Vanderbilt was a little bit of a facade, I thought. A&M was a little bit of a facade. Talked about that before. Oklahoma, I mean, they lost to Alabama. I mean, a number of games, and I just think that the SEC was not great this year. At the same time, how many players did LSU even take to the bowl down in Houston?
I think there's more coaching turnover in the SEC too. There's a ton of coaching turnover. 6 head coaching jobs.
Tennessee was overrated, though, also. I mean, I did not think it was a great year for the league. That's one of the ways that A&M was undefeated in league play, by the way. I mean, they played what quarterback number was Missouri down to in their bowl game?
I mean, look, that's
everybody
has injury. People forget Tennessee lost both of their starting corners for the year. They didn't play a game. One's McCoy was a All-American and future first-round pick. They lost both of their starting corners. So if you since maybe Texas didn't play Tennessee, some people might have lost track of. Tennessee had a pretty rough year from the injury bug. I mean, you lose both of your starting corners before the season. Best of luck to you defensively. Obviously, that so much going on with some of these schools. I mean, LSU extremely talented. To Bobby's point, how many players did they take? Coaching turnover. Florida has some talented parts. Coaching turnover. Auburn, very talented defense, bad on offense. Refs didn't help them out against Georgia. Coaching turnover. I mean, Arkansas, talented offense, good play caller, on defense. It's a couple of talented players, one of them visiting Texas, coaching turnover. I mean, so there was a lot, but at the end of the day, you are what your record says you are. At the end of the day, that is the one truth. And the Big Ten has been the best conference this year.
I do want to say that there is a little bit of breaking news. Pete Nakos of On3, a guy that I respect very much, reporting that Texas is attempting to get Cam Coleman, the wide receiver out of Alabama and the University of Auburn University, on campus this weekend. I can confirm that news that they're trying to. I can't confirm that he's actually on campus at this time, but that would be a big hit. And one of the premier players in the portal overall. Texas expecting between 10 and 13 players in the portal from the portal to visit Austin this weekend, hopefully.
Big news indeed. Lone Star GC 214 any good offensive linemen in the portal, or maybe that plan to enter? Bobby, I know you touched on this briefly a minute ago, but
yes,
a lot of people joined since then.
yes,
Yeah. Look, I mean, they're coming from all over right now. And so Texas is absolutely involved with several of them. If you're talking about big names, there was none bigger than last night. Zalance Hurd, offensive tackle out of Tennessee, announced that he's going into the portal. That's a big one, by the way, because he's an all SEC first team selection, I think.
I went to see him. Yeah, I went to see him at Neville High School. Texas offered and tried to recruit him out of high school. Great looking kid physically. I mean, great. He was going to LSU out of high school, signed with LSU, transferred to Tennessee. Don't take that the wrong way. I misspoke. Transferred to Tennessee and was hurt a lot of last year. Came back, had a great year this year as an all SEC player. He is I mean, there's certain guys when you go visit them in high school and you've done this long enough, you're like, if that guy just avoids major injuries and just keeps his head on straight, he is a lock to be an NFL draft pick. Zalance Hurd was one of those guys when I saw him at Neville. I mean, very talented kid. Very talented kid. And Marquise Harper says a lot of people think he's going back to LSU. We'll see. We'll see.
And Jerry, I know you touched on this earlier in the show, but Bandit here with the super chat says Jaden Woods do not contact tag Texas lock.
Look, I've said this before. In the case of some guys, it's done. They know where they're going. In the case of some others with the do not contact tag, they may have 2 or 3 places they're going to visit, and they've made that decision. They've just trimmed the list. I think Texas covets Jaden Woods. He is a very talented player. The people around the Florida program had him after his freshman year pegged as a 1st or 2nd round future draft pick, and the new staff went all in to try to keep him. He was as important to them as Jaden Ball and Dallas Wilson. Just want to put that out there. That's how much they thought of his future.
And then Corey says, have we talked Coy Perch? Seems like a Muschamp kind of guy. I do know Ohio State finished 2nd in his recruitment and would go after him with Caleb Downs gone.
That would be a big fish. Okay, sorry.
I saw that happen last night. It's a young man out of Minnesota that plays 2 ways. Tremendous all-around athlete. It is not a name I have heard connected to the University of Texas at this time. But as of last night, it was not a name I'd heard connected to the University of Texas.
Garza with another super chat. Thank you, Juan. Appreciate you. Did you see CJ Baxter is visiting Kentucky?
Good for him. I just hope he continues his rehab, and I hope he gets back some of the punch and some of the juice he had.
Yeah.
Really a cautionary tale from an injury perspective last year for CJ. I mean, he never got right, and we tried to explain that, and people didn't. I mean, sometimes knee injuries just don't heal the right way. Especially ones that are so broad, so encompassing. I mean, every ligament. I mean,
you won't find a bigger fan of CJ Baxter as a dude than me, having gone to see him multiple times in high school, watching his leadership, and the things he did for Texas while injured. He was so big part of that program, of the Texas program, even when he was injured. Captain level stuff by CJ Baxter. Wherever he goes, they're going to love him in the locker room, and it will come down to if he can get that knee a little closer to where it was. Unbelievable leader, great dude. Great.
I just had to bring that up just to show you.
Well, there's always time. People can change.
For those listening, Sarah O says she's never, ever had a corn dog. So, all right, Kate Stewart here with what portal is turning into. It seems like the days of coming in as a freshman and making an impact early are going to become far and few between. How does this impact high school recruiting?
Well, so here's the thing. I know the portal's dominant right now, and I said this after the bowl game, and I'm going to continue to say this. Your high school recruiting is still, as a blue blood school, is still number one, and it's still most important. Just look at the bowl win over Michigan. Who are your high school recruits? Arch, Ty Anthony, Trevor Gooseby, Brandon Baker, Cade Phillips, Jelani McDonald. I mean, we can keep going. Your program, your foundation of your program is always – now, look, some people say, well, Indiana, Kirk Cincinnati, he can't get the players Georgia and Texas can and Ohio State can out of high school. And it's not going to happen at Indiana. So your blue bloods I'm talking about specifically, your programs are still and will always be built through your high school recruiting and your development. That's never going to change. Because you can sign, you have the ability to go sign some of the best, and those best still translate. And you have to have development in your program still. If like Texas ever gets to where they're 30 guys a year out of the portal, I'll be a little worried. I don't think that's the formula for the Blue Bloods. I think it's because you can get the elite. Imagine being at a place where you say, Colin Simmons, we don't need him. We're going to go to the portal. That's a mistake. Those will always be. You can't get to that point. Your high school recruiting is your foundation as a blue blood. It always will be. It's not going to change.
I'll just say this. How does it impact high school recruiting? I think it's going to be a little bit of what Texas did this year. I think it could curb the number of guys you go after that are considered blue chips from Texas, like used to try to litter its roster with blue chips, right? And I think that they might be more judicious with funds towards high school recruits. Maybe you go after 10 blue chips and the rest are developmental players, as opposed to an entire incoming class of blue chip prospects like Texas used to do. That's how I foresee the future of high school recruiting.
Yeah. And shifting gears here for a moment, Corey wants to know, any news on the safeties coach?
Yeah. I think Texas knows who it wants. It's just got to be announced at this point. And we'll hold off on mentioning that. But Texas certainly has identified somebody they want, and they were trying to finish the deal this last 24, 48, 72 hours.
And as Jerry showed everyone the high on his shirt, John here with the super chat says, okay, Jerry has been flashing the high on his skirt. I think he means shirt. So
I have a high skirt too.
Quit
I'm not showing that. I'm not wearing that.
Patience,
right, Jerry, Bobby? Patience.
These guys, John. Thank you for the super chat. These guys got to get on campus before we start saying this is done or that's done, and actually, then they'll have their visits, etc. But I don't mean to tease your patience or request too much of it. Neither does Jerry. But there are some things that are likely done. But they need to play out. And so patience is needed. Patience is a virtue, whatever you want to say. We are not trying to tease you purposely. Well, Jerry may be. That's a different story. I am not.
Just stay in this mode and you'll be fine for the next couple of weeks. But no, I would say this. The visits haven't truly begun yet. Texas staff is just starting to arrive at the facility right now. They flew back yesterday. They're just starting to arrive at the facility right now, which means the visits will be beginning probably a little bit before lunchtime or right at lunchtime. Guys are flying in right now. And by the way, for those wondering, Will Muschamp is I was told he got back to Austin last night, and he's in the office today for the visit weekends, of course.
Our next super chat this morning comes from David. Thank you, David. Unless I'm remembering wrong, Texas offensive line looked very good against Michigan. Almost excellent. Possible offensive line development is coming together and not as big of a need as previously thought.
Well, the problem is you lose 3 starters potentially. So it may have come together, but then you're going to have to remake it immediately, because the only 2 guys that are definitely returning at this point are, you would hope, and Trevor Gooseby's not even definitely returning, right? It's either the NFL or Texas at this point. But my point in saying all that is left tackle and right tackle are probably spoken for at this point to some level, but the 3 interior guys are not. Connor Robertson could return, but is he going to be in a situation where he wants to return, or is he just going to go ahead and graduate? He walked with the seniors this past year, and he is a graduate of the University of Texas. So while it did come together eventually, and they did play well, I don't know about excellent. They gave up 0 sacks, had 2 100-yard rushers. I think they played really well in their final game together this year. But look, they're going to go in the portal for guys. That's just the bottom line. They are not leaving 2026 to chance. That's not happening.
Yeah. I'm going to answer this real quick, Blake. Do we have Lambeau Rose for the visitors? No, that's high school. Portal recruiting's well beyond its net jets lined up. There's net jets lined up as you walk into the facility. The 8-seater, the 20-seater. Which seater do you need to come here for your net jet? Hey, bring up the graph again. We've had so many people join us. Our portal graphic, which we'll be using for the next 2 weeks. This is the work of Blake Monroe, the great Blake Monroe.
Hey, I got to give a little credit. Matt helped me with the flag. He made that flag look good. So shout out to Matt. That's the one I was having issues with.
Head on over to ontexasfootball.com. We have our big Portal After Dark thread rolling. We have 500 comments on that at this point, or getting close to it. So come join the fun.
That's right. And I might as well just go ahead and mention it again, because this is something you need to take advantage of if you haven't already. Right now, Bobby has a Portal Madness limited time offer. Subscribe at ontexasfootball.com. New subscribers get a month for just $1. That way you can stay up to date with all the portal news and, of course, anything and everything else that's happening as well. But great community over there. Come join us on TexasFootball.com. No promo code is needed. Just sign up like you normally would. It'll only charge you $1 for that first month. Okay, back. Go ahead, Bobby. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, people just coming in, 10 to 13 official visitors set for this weekend for the University of Texas. Texas could sign between 15 and 18 transfer portal guys throughout this whole month. So Texas all in for 2026. We've said it a lot. We mean it. All those guys are down there on the screen. Ian Jaffard, Louisville running back Isaac Brown, Auburn linebacker Robert Woodyard, all starters at their respective schools this past year. There are other guys coming in as well. One that we mentioned yesterday, Gianni Spedic, the kicker from Memphis. Based on some comments I'm hearing from the agent world, we didn't even talk about this. He's expected to be a Longhorn. It sounds like he's actually going to go to Texas. We have not confirmed that yet, but it's one to put out there. He was 15 of 20 this year on field goals. He was 4 of 5 from 50 yards plus, by the way. So Gianni Spedic.
And what Bobby said earlier, Bobby said earlier, between 10 and 13 visitors this weekend, we're leaning to the 13.
There you go. I want to answer this from Corey J. He said, is there a portal thread on the OTF website to keep track of any updates?
Yes.
In fact, that's the best way to stay updated, honestly, because it's updated constantly, whereas, we're only on here certain times of the day. So hands down the best way. Our next super chat this morning, we actually have a few regarding other teams. So I want to go ahead and knock those out. A lot of comments about other teams, like Guy here, for example. Can we squash these claims by the Aggies that they would have beat Ohio State just because Miami did?
No, they would not have.
How are they going to score that many?
Marcel Reed wasn't beating Ohio State. No
they
chance.
Don't get it. They don't get it.
And then
they scored 3 points.
Yeah.
They're just they
at home.
Yeah. I'm not real concerned about what Aggies are thinking right now. I think Holman Wiggins is now their offensive coordinator. He's never called a play, I don't think, in his life.
Yeah.
I that was one of the more dumbfounding offseason moves of any major college coach in the country.
Especially
And-
considering he did some really good things on defense. Travis Williams, Elijah Robinson.
Yeah. From a recruiting perspective, he did really good stuff on
Yep.
defense. I think that the issue that I have with his offensive hire is this is so typical of guys that think they've got it all answered, is they get an extension and you elevate your buddies. It's not what you do. Meanwhile, you have Texas trying to improve with Will Muschamp on defense from Pete Kwiatkowski. Just saying.
Michael Williams with Super Chat says, Indiana's performance yesterday reminded me of the Spurs and Tim Duncan. It was fundamental and all business.
And I'll add another word, efficient.
Yeah.
Boy, they stuck to their guns, run inside, throw the bubble outside, throw dig routes, and they go over the top every so often. I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It really was. And I agree. It's they've got a formula right now that is working for them.
And then we got a couple more regarding other teams. Davis Ray says, imagine Ole Miss winning the Natty. Lane Kiffin, the laughing emoji.
Hey, I think Ole Miss showed a lot of heart last night. I don't know who all watched that game, but Kewan Lacey is a load. Trinidad Chambliss is unbelievable. He made a play. One drive of his in the fourth quarter may have been the best drive I've seen from a quarterback. It was like 4 plays where your jaw dropped. It wasn't just one play. And he was freaky, and congratulations to those guys. They beat Georgia. By
the way, we have a post that Jimmy Sexton is unbelievable. Lane Kiffin got $500K for Ole Miss winning last night.
He did.
While
from LSU. LSU. Yeah, I think that's because his former Ole Miss contract was incentive laden, and so he just tried to make it carried forward.
Imagine leaving the school you're coaching at and still getting paid for the win.
Yeah, that's awesome.
$500,000.
I had a couple of other ones on the other teams, mainly Texas Tech. I'll do those back to back. Roy says, how adorable was it that Texas Tech thought they were a power in college football? Oh, well, maybe they can win another portal championship again. Katie 35, I am the best. Can we give a shout out to Tech for scoring 0 points? Everything runs through Lubbock.
I'm not sure they could have scored on Lubbock, Estacado, Amarillo, Tascosa, or the Pampa Harvesters yesterday.
Dubin, Texas says Oregon sent Tortilla Tech back to the kiddie table. So lots of people enjoying that Tech shutout yesterday.
How long is this is something that people need to recognize, and I think it was a Yahoo sports writer that wrote this. The Big 12 has won exactly one college football playoff game in its existence, and that was TCU over Michigan.
Yeah.
At what
they
point
followed that up well too? They followed that up well.
At what point? Yeah, they followed up really well against Georgia, right? But my point, though, and Jerry, at what point does the Big 4 become the Power 3?
Yeah.
If that kind of continues, Tech is going to go. And the term that Cody Campbell, the Tech mega booster, used yesterday post game is, we're going to double down.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what you do. Your offense got really exposed yesterday. Really exposed. It wasn't your defense that got exposed. Your defense is really good. David Bailey is a freak. David Bailey may be the closest thing I've seen to Myles Garrett in a while. So I'll put that. That's how good that young man is. I would say this, though. The reality of it is they've got a lot of work to do on the offensive line of scrimmage. The skill positions at Tech are not very good on offense. They've got to figure out who their quarterback's going to be. Are they going to go into it next year with Will Hammond? No, probably not. But I think the one that they want, the young man from Cincinnati, is likely headed to LSU. So they've got a lot of work to do. I think that Tech was a little overrated all year because of the conference they played in, and that was pretty evident.
Back to some Texas talk. Tex 6022 says, post Arch era, in y'all's opinion, will next up be KJ Lacey or Diabell?
It's up to the competition. And I mean, that's really what it comes down to, who develops and who wins the competition. I think that's going to be a real competition. KJ Lacey obviously has the year head start. Diabell will be moving to Austin here into next week, January 10th. KJ Lacey has had a really good last spring, really good redshirt season. I can't say which way it's going to go. That's going to be a real competition. There's still a lot of developmental time in front of both of those players. Obviously, Diabell. I think why I think a redshirt year is so important for Diabell. So he gets to develop fully healthy for a season. Yep. Fully healthy development for a season, I think, is going to be really big for him, physically, and just at the quarterback position. He had a rough injury luck, and that before people say, oh, he's never going to be healthy. I mean, he had a freak injury his junior year in the playoffs, got very lucky, came back senior year, could have come back late in the year in the playoffs, but I think they were just like, hey, let's just chill out, get you to Texas. You're going to have a year where you're not getting hit. You're going to develop, get your body where it needs to be. But I think it's going to be a hell of a competition.
Our next super chat this morning comes from Vinny. I really like Christian Clark, says Vinny. How do y'all see him going into 2026? Is he possibly running back 3 with more playing time than we've seen from an RB3 lately?
I think so. Look, I don't think they may be done with the transfer portal at running back. I mean, I think there's some to be determined situations there at running back that are on the existing roster that may enter the portal. It's certainly one that we need to watch, Vinny, and I think that that's a fair assessment. I think that he performed really well on Wednesday, very admirably. Is that in the question? I would say, and this is how the Texas coaches have to look at it right now. Do you think he's a national championship winning running back if he's a 1 or 2 for you? As a 3, yes. As a 1 or 2, you would have questions right now based on his performance overall this year, not just in one game. So I think that's where Texas has to be at right now.
And then Longhorn Frenzy, appreciate you as always, says, good morning, guys. The Portal After Dark thread on OTF is gold. I'm going to borrow the high written in Mayo corn dog picture. Just letting you know. Hookle.
If you haven't been over to this thread, Ricky Williams in a wedding dress has made it in. Simone Biles has made it in. There's a lot going on in that thread. It's a lot of fun.
And again, that's at ontexasfootball.com. Bradford here with the super chat. Thank you, Bradford. Any idea on Owen's destination? He says Indiana, fingers crossed.
No, I had not heard that. I think that Indiana's trying to almost has a deal in place probably with Josh Hoover, the young man out of TCU. So I don't think that Trey Owens would go there unless it's as a backup. Perhaps he's going somewhere else. I have not heard quite yet on that. His agent, Ron Slavin, also has Josh Hoover, had Quinn Ewers as well. So we'll see where that goes.
And then our next super chat comes from Gift Wraps. When did Colin Simmons re-sign? Just curious.
Hasn't been announced yet. So we'll see if and when he does. So we're not reporting that he's re-signed, but all signs are that he's very, very happy at Texas, and Texas is very, very happy with him.
There you go. All right, Bobby, we got more super chats to get to, but first I need you to tell everyone one more time about South Point Dodge.
I could do that, bud. Look, the sales event at South Point Dodge right now, if you've been thinking about upgrading your ride, now's the time. Big price reductions on Ram 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s, plus Jeep Wranglers and Grand Cherokees. And here's the kicker on Texas football listeners. Get 90 days before your first payment, South Point Dodge will ship your new ride anywhere you are. Over $600 vehicles in stock, ready to roll for tailgates or holiday road trips. Check out southpointdodge.com or swing by I-35 South in South Austin. Get to the point at South Point Dodge. Thank you to South Point Dodge, our new Friday morning coffee and football sponsor. Again, Ram 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s, plus Jeep Wranglers and Grand Cherokees. You can get them all 90 days before your first payment. southpointdodge.com.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you to South Point Dodge.
I want to comment on Trey Owens real quick. I forgot to. You know what I'd love to see Trey Owens do in quarterbacks in his position? Go down a level. I think, a lot of people, Power 4, go to this school. He's already been in that competition. If I were in that position, I would portal down to a G5. I would go get 300, 400 pass attempts. I would go get my experience. I would not go get in another Power 4 competition. There are plenty of G5 places you can go start. They hand you the football. You get your experience on the field. And once you have that experience, if you're a quarterback, you have to play the portal right. Go down to G5 if you've already been in the P4 competition. Go get 400 throws on tape, get your experience. And if you do well there, your butt's going to get paid when you go back to the Power 4 level. That's the game. You got to play the game as the quarterback in the portal. That's what I fully believe. You got to have a good plan.
Should make his way to Ruston, Louisiana, and play at Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
Sonny Cumbie will throw that ball around.
Yep.
West Coast says, what happened to Jordan Washington?
It's a good question here. He has not played the last couple of games for the Longhorns, going almost exclusively with jack injuries and Nick Townsend. So I think that, and Spencer Shannon, all three of those guys. I think Jordan's got some work ahead of him. He is a very talented player, young man, but he's got to find his way on the field. I think if jack injuries goes pro, it opens up a more natural path for Jordan next year.
And then Chris King here with the super chat. Thank you, Chris. Says, not really a question, but watching these playoffs, the difference between us and them was having a dominant running game to lean on.
Well, I mean, Alabama didn't have one. And it showed yesterday. Yeah.
Look, and I think it's a power run game. Miami's a power run game.
Indiana.
Power run game. Michigan, when Harbaugh won it, power. I mean, they ran it 22 times in a row against Penn State in the game. 22 times in a row. Power run game.
Ole Miss with Lacey.
Yep.
Jordan Davison yesterday for Oregon.
Yep.
It's that inside power run game that allows you to sprinkle it outside and get cheap yardage. That's my opinion.
Yep.
That's the new way of college football.
Jerry, this next super chat specifically for you from Mick Booger Balls 512.
Nice.
Mayo on a hot dog is good, but I've never had it with a corn dog. Jerry, is it life-changing?
It has been for me. You guys are bad. Hey, we need to recoil a little bit because we've talked about the 10 to 13 visitors coming in over the weekend for Texas. That's the expectation at this point. Could sign as many as 15 to 18 transfer portal guys. We need to mention that Texas did lose a couple guys to the portal. Blake, can you put that graphic up? 3 guys going in yesterday on the first opportunity. Nato Umeozulu, Levon Johnson, and Parker Livingston, all going into the portal yesterday. Livingston, the one that has started games at Texas, and was a little bit of a surprise to fans. It was not a surprise to us behind the scenes because I think Texas is reconnoitering its receiver room to make way for some big play guys. Texas continues or is in pursuit of Cam Coleman, perhaps the number 1 overall player in the portal. He's the wide receiver out of Auburn. As well, they have a couple guys re-signed with Texas for next year as well. That's Alex January, the defensive tackle, Emmett Mosley, the wide receiver, has re-signed for next year. And I'm forgetting one other name. A lot of stuff going on right now at Texas.
Hero Canoe back.
Hero Canoe is back as well. We've been reporting that for a while, but he actually did sign and is returning now. So a lot of things going on. We could see more Texas players go in the portal today and throughout this week because Texas have not gotten all of their roster done. I'm trying to say this the right way. Okay. So some existing players could go in the portal. So that's why Texas is focused both on retention and addition over this next 7 to 10 days. And I think it'll go into later this month, even potentially with some players, because that's how much of an undertaking it is for Texas. And Texas is not unique in this. It's across the country.
Well, let's get back to some more super chats here. Rocky P with yet another one. Thank you again. Says Hollywood Smothers or Brown?
Brown. Hollywood Smothers signed with Oklahoma out of high school, transferred to NC State's done well at NC State, good player, but Brown out of Louisville is higher level back in my opinion.
It's worth repeating. Isaac Brown rushed for more than 1,000 yards as a true freshman at Louisville. This year he followed it up. He was injured a little bit, followed it up with another 800-yard plus performance. He had 5 runs this year over 50 yards in 100 carries. That's just home run hitting ability, period. So
yeah,
keep that in mind.
Yep. And to point a little add to that, Tom Luganbill, friend of our show, a friend of mine, who is one of the top guys for ESPN and ACC. He's always down at ESPN Under Armour All-America game where I've been the last couple of days. He thinks that Brown not got hurt, Louisville would have won 2 or 3 more games this year. He thought he was that impactful for Louisville. He said that injury probably cost him 2 or 3 wins.
Look at that, 8.8 yards per carry, guys. I mean, think about that.
Yeah, his feet are on fire, man. That guy's got a jetpack.
Get Sark to get him in space. That's what you want. And this young man's expected on campus this weekend.
All right, our next question this morning comes from Derek Smith. It says, greetings, fellas, from Bahrain. Horns 24/7 has Isaac Brown at 100% to Texas. How much validity is that to prediction? Side note, Arch was clocked at 21 miles per hour on that 60-yard touchdown run. Blazing speed.
I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to be rude to anybody. I'm not real concerned about what Horns 24/7 or anybody's talking about as it relates to predictions for Texas. I feel very confident that Texas is the leader for Isaac Brown. I would be very concerned about anybody that says 100% in this day and age. I will say that, including myself, unless I have firm knowledge that he's already signed. Because in the NIL world, free agency, you never know who comes with a checkbook at the last minute.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there. And it's not a knock on anybody. It is just the way the world is. And so I would put that caveat on that. As far as how fast Arch is, Real Analytics is the company that does that. Real Analytics is not the Amazon data web services that you see on the NFL. They have some there's high margin for error on their data.
Yeah.
So while I think Arch Manning is really fast, I'll just put it this way. It is not the same as Catapult data or what you'll see from Amazon Web Services. So I'm a little dubious of their actual numbers, but Arch, plenty of fast, no questions asked. He has the thing that is surprising about Arch, by the way, it's not just that he's sneaky athletic, he has sneaky acceleration. His first 5 yards, when he starts to get going, is pretty darn good. It's not necessarily he has long speed, but it's his acceleration that I find a little interesting. Better than
somebody asked for a Cam Newton update. Horrible outfits. That's all I have for you.
Cam Newton.
That's very random.
Cam Coleman, Auburn.
I know.
There it is.
Cam,
Pete Nakos is reporting that Texas is attempting to get Cam Coleman on campus this weekend. That's an accurate report, by the way. Whether it actually shows up or not is a different story. Coleman, I think, down to Texas A&M, and Alabama at this point. And likely to visit all three before making a decision, is what I'm told.
Juan Garza with another super chat. Thank you again, Juan. Are you worried about Tech being a thorn in Texas' side, outbidding them for the big free agent like Cam Coleman?
well, they need to upgrade at wideout.
They need to upgrade at quarterback, offensive line. They need the full meal deal, brother.
Yeah, I mean, look, I personally, I'm one that personally thinks Cody Campbell got really good return on his investment. He won the Big 12 and went to the college football playoff. That is more visibility for Texas Tech football than they've had since when? Since ever. Same thing in volleyball. They're on the right track. They just have to keep piecing it together. They're on the right track. He's on the right track with what he's doing. Look, he should, if he, and like his tweet said, we're going to double down more resources. As long as they're in the Big 12 and there is a Big 12, he should put Tech in a position to win that league 8 out of the next 10 years and be in the college football playoff if the rules don't change.
They're
in the selection.
He's
on the right track.
Their schedule next year is a joke.
Yeah.
That's a fundamental joke. I would say this. As good as that defense was, he got good return on his investment on defense. I think he got sold a bill of goods on his offense.
Yeah.
By his personnel director.
And let's see here. Dylan Cook with super chat. Thank you, Dylan. Are we still looking at Marsh at wide receiver as well?
No one said that Texas was ever looking at Marsh. At least this channel didn't.
Texas didn't push for him out of high school. Good player.
Well, no, he's talking about the guy at, I think they're talking about the guy at Michigan State, not the guy at Michigan.
That Marsh.
I will say this: if something goes sideways with Cam Coleman at some point, that comment I made could change.
All right. Isaiah Rangel, thank you, says any offensive lineman or defensive lineman that we are going after.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's multiple. We're reluctant to mention the offensive lineman at this point for competitive reasons, probably. And our sources asking us, and basically us agreeing to it, not to reveal those. Some defensive linemen. We've mentioned Ian Jaffrard, a young man out of Arkansas. He's expected to visit today. He's a 6'5", 380-pound defensive tackle, over the ball guy. Jerry's talked about Jaden Woods, a defensive end out of the University of Florida. He's also expected at some point, either this weekend or early this week. There are a couple of others that we are monitoring as well.
Random one. Thank you for your super chat. Saying James Madison scored 31 points on Oregon. LOL, Sandaggy, talking about Texas Tech.
Yeah.
It's that same offensive style that has been that Garrett Riley and Lincoln Riley use, and I'm telling you, it's out of fashion right now. The 3 high safety stuff has really put the kibosh on that offense. Dan Lanning used a lot of it on Wednesday. Garrett Riley just got fired at Clemson. Lincoln Riley can't beat TCU with its backup quarterback.
And our final super chat of the day, as of now, from, never mind, as soon as I said that, another one came in. Rocky P says, how much of Clark's improvement was the Jaluk effect?
I wouldn't go there at all. I think sometimes it's opportunity and to get in a groove. And he's a downhill runner, and I think that matched up pretty well. Look, with Texas' change of offense throughout the year, not that Texas was a downhill run team, don't get me wrong, but he's not an outside zone guy. So it was almost square peg round hole with him. But then when you get an opportunity, and again, every month is a month removed from an Achilles injury too, by the way. And we always said, what an amazing kid in the way he attacked his rehab to get on the field that quick. But I also think there's something to be said for, getting in a groove. It's getting that opportunity and getting comfortable. And then your vision, everything slows down. You read that linebacker a little bit quicker. Your feet are more comfortable in the hole when you press the hole. That move you make is with the right timing. I think he got very comfortable in that game because he got off to a good start. And that was the most he's played in a game. And he kept getting better and better as the game went on, in my opinion. I know he had the longest run out of the gate, but that's not even who he is as a back. Who he is as a back is what you saw in about 15 of those 20 carries.
And then we have one final one from J. I'm just going to say that so I don't butcher your name. Bobby, sponsor suggestion. Dukes or Blue Plate Mayo have a weekly contest featuring Jerry and his Mayo corn dogs. No skirt. Just saying. Hook 'em.
I like the fact that Sark was showered in Cheez-Its on Wednesday, by the way. That's much better than showered in Mayo or even in Gatorade, right? I mean, you got to – if you're a coach and you win the Cheez-It Bowl, you'd much rather be showered in Cheez-Its than Gatorade and get a cold Gatorade bath or a Mayo dunk, I guess. But anyways, no, thanks, Jay, an hour for the super chat. Guys, we've got a lot of stuff coming up on TexasFootball.com. Please join us over there. We have a special going on right now for $1 for 1 month. That's we're doing an introductory special to new subscribers only. $1 for 1 month. It's Portal Madness. Please join us. Jerry's talked about the thread that we have going on. We also are going to have updates from the weekend happening. We expect visitors, as Jerry mentioned, to start arriving at Texas around noon today. So please join us over at OnTexasFootball.com. Special offer, $1 for 1 month this month.
There you go. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Ring the bell so you're notified anytime we go live, post content, whatever it may be. Between those two avenues, we got you covered around the clock with all of this Portal Madness. And Bobby, no doubt it's going to be a busy day, a busy weekend. What can folks expect later today and through the week?
Well, we got at 3 o'clock. We're having the live stream again, by the way. So that'll be me, Jerry, and Rod. I think Marcus Myers may be able to join us for that. But we'll be talking, obviously, portal. It will be the discussion point. There may be some more guys go into the portal for the Texas Longhorns. And by that 3 o'clock time frame, we should have a better idea of all of the players that are in on this first day, or at least on their way to Austin.
And one final one that just came in, Lane Kiffin's lost dog. Assuming Wingo stays, do we get one receiver or two?
Two. Texas lost Livingston and DeAndre Moore.
Yeah.
So I think they're going for two. I think that who they get as the first wide receiver could predicate who the next one is.
There we go. All right, y'all. Well, happy Portal Day to everyone. We hope you have an outstanding weekend, a great day today. Of course, we'll be back on Monday morning. So I also need to thank South Point Dodge, along with Prize Picks, AG1, and Hayes City Store for sponsoring today's show, and My Perfect Franchise, Andy Ludicky, as well for sponsoring. But yeah, we'll be back on Monday morning. Have a great weekend. For Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe. We'll see you then.
Hook 'em horns.